Hello and welcome to the Prince Softcover. I'm Purva Chitnis. And as always, we will be talking here on new books, new releases, new launches. And today's book that we will be talking about is a book called Bombay After Ayodhya. I have the book with me. This book is written by Jitendra Dikshit, and it's a HarperCollins publication book. This is called Bombay After Ayodhya, A City in Flux. Now, this book, as the name and the title suggest, it is about Bombay and how Bombay changed from after Ayodhya, which is 1992. So it chronicles the last 30 years of how the city changed. And this book is written by Jitendra Dikshit. Now, he is, a journalist. He's an author, but he's also a journalist who has been working in the field for the last almost 2.5 decades, which is 25 odd years. He is based out of Mumbai, and he has been covering crime for the last 25 years of his career. So welcome, Jitendra Dikshit, on this Prince soft cover, and congratulations on your new book.
Thank you, Purva. Thanks for this opportunity to speak about my book and interact with your audience. Thank you very much. And I'm happy since I know you since so many years, and it was a pleasant surprise to see you working for this platform. It's really good to know.
Yeah. I just was curious, after reading this book, first of all, I just wanted to, if we go from the title, Bombay After Ayodhya. Now, after Ayodhya, in fact, it's not just Bombay, but the country changed, like its political scenario changed, but how different cities across the country changed. But you chose to write about Bombay, which is now Mumbai. Why did you decide to write about the city?
Exactly. So there are two reasons, Purva. First is when Babri Masjid was demolished in Ayodhya on 6th December 92. So there were communal riots across India at many places. But the most severe riots happened in Mumbai in two phases. In first week of December, then in a second week of January, which were followed by a serial blast on 12th March 1993. So Mumbai has been the biggest victim of that incident, and I have been a witness to it. I grew up in a locality called Masjid Bandar, which has a pin code of 400003. So people who live there are called as Bombay number 3 के लोग, यानी बहुत सारे लोग that area evokes some kind of fear in people who resided in other parts of the city. जैसे लोग बोलते थे कि यार बम्बई नंबर 3 का शाना है, उससे जरा पंगा मत लेना, and all that. So in that locality, I grew up seeing so much of violence. I had seen communal riots there. I had seen gang wars. Gang wars not only between Dawood Ibrahim or Chota Rajan's gang, but also between Dawood gang and Pathan gang, the gang wars of late 80s. And I have seen terrorist attacks there. On 12th March 93, when 12 locations were targeted, one of the locations was Katha Bazaar, which was at Masjid Bandar. So I grew up seeing so much of violence. So when I was researching for my earlier book, that is Valley of Red Snow, which is based on Kashmir after 370. So I read few books like A Curfew Night by Basharat Peer and Our Moon Has Blood Clots by Rahul Pandita. And they narrated how they have seen the advent of terrorism in Kashmir Valley, and how the gun culture gripped the Kashmir Valley, and how they grew up seeing that bloodshed. So while reading, I felt कि बॉस ये सब तो मैंने भी देखा है, और जो 90s का कश्मीर था, same thing was happening in 90s of Mumbai. In 90s of Kashmir mein, there was a gun culture. Youngsters were joining militancy. There were killings and shootouts every day. Same thing was happening in Mumbai as well. In Mumbai, Underworld was recruiting all these youngsters, and every day there were shootouts. Every day people were getting killed. So I saw parallels between 90s of Kashmir and 90s of Mumbai. So I thought, since I have been a witness to it, and I have been one of those people who have been affected by such kind of violence, so I should write a book on it. And since I have experience of the city, not just as a Mumbaiker, but also as a journalist who has covered the city for over 2 decades. So I think I have credentials to write on the subject, and that's what motivated me to write this book, Bombay After Ayodhya.
So these events, do they kind of motivate you also to join journalism? Because you said that you've seen violence. It's not just the 90s violence, but also in your book you've started off with since the time you were born and how your grandparents came into the city, and since then, like the 70s and the 80s of Bombay, you have touched briefly upon it. So do these events kind of inspired you, motivated you to become a journalist as well?
Yeah, exactly. Since see, there are two reasons. First of all, I liked writing when I was in standard 8. So I started writing for a children's magazine. There was a magazine called Balhans. So I wrote an essay for that magazine, and I won the first prize. So that motivated me, and I started writing. When I went to college, I started writing to editors. So that was one thing that I was passionate about writing. Secondly, since I grew up seeing so much of violence, so that had already I had curiosity why these gangs fight and why such communal clashes were being faced. So that also played a role on me, journalist, and me becoming a crime journalist per se, because when I joined Aaj Tak in '99, I was recruited as a crime reporter, and for next 1 decade, I was doing crime reporting, covering all these gang wars and shootouts and encounters. So that's how I got motivated to become a crime journalist. So exactly the my upbringing and the surrounding and the incidents. That played one role. Other thing was my passion for writing. So these things made me a journalist.
And so if you talk about the city and how Bombay changed to Mumbai, did you see a change of character as well? And if yes, then when exactly, if you can pinpoint, like what is that time in the history in the last 30 years when this character of the city changed, the people around it changed? And I'm not like right now going into the politics of it, which we will talk about a little later. But I just want to talk about the city that you've written in your book and how it has changed in the last 30 years, which are those incidences which you personally feel were responsible for changing the character of the city.
See, the subtitle of the book is A City in Flux. Bombay After Ayodhya is city in flux. So it is constantly changing, and the change has not been sudden. After this, those riots, they catalyzed, they acted as a catalyst for this change. But the change is gradually happening during last 3 decades. Many spheres of the city have changed. The politics of Mumbai has changed. The underworld of Mumbai has changed. The social fabric has changed. The real estate has changed. So you will see that not only just the character of the city has changed, but also its physical appearance has also been impacted. So we can see mills being replaced by malls, and we have seen evolution of many cities around Mumbai, cities like Mira Road, Bhayandar, then Navi Mumbai. Although it was a planned city, but the growth of Navi Mumbai accelerated only in mid 90s after these riots. Many people after this Hindu-Muslim riot migrated to many smaller towns and cities adjacent to Mumbai. So that has also changed the demography of the city. That has led to ghettoization also at some places. And I'll say that people say that Mumbai is a cosmopolitan city, and often it is wrongly perceived that Mumbai has been always a city where Hindus and Muslims have lived peacefully. That is wrong. If you see, I have mentioned in one of the chapters, if you look at the history of Mumbai for last 100 and 150 years, there have been many communal clashes since 1890.
Of the major that you said in your book.
Years, there have been communal clashes. But if you see after 1992, there have not been major riots. But still, I'll say how the things like moving ahead in our country, the polarization and the politics. So you never know. So that's why one of the reasons why I wrote that book is that we should learn from history, because if we are not learning from the mistakes of history, we are bound to repeat it. So the new generation, the millennials, should know like what happened during 92, 93 riots, and how the carnage took place.
Yeah. And also, it's not just the 92, 93, period that kind of suddenly changed the city, as you mentioned in your book as well. There was a little bit of, history to it, why Bombay was tense. And, you mentioned the Salman Rushdie incident in your book. Would you like to talk about it in detail?
Yeah, exactly.
First-person experience.
Yeah. Just few years before 93 riots, there were certain things happening in Mumbai, which led to so much of violence when Babri Masjid was demolished. And I have mentioned few of such incidents. One was Salman Rushdie's protest against Salman Rushdie's book, The Satanic Verses. So just 3 years before 92 riots, this book was banned, and Muslims decided to arrange a protest march from Mastan Talao in central Mumbai to British Consulate's office in South Mumbai. But the permission was not given to them by the cops. And at the same time, there was one Dalit organization which also had applied for the permission, and they were allowed. So what I gathered from the research was that there was a feeling among Muslims that police was biased towards them. Police was treating unfairly. So that was one reason. And when they took out the protest march, it was a leaderless march, because most of the leaders who had called for the march, they were arrested. So people were moving on their own, and near Crawford Market Junction, there was a clash with the cops. Police fired at the protesters, and 12 people were killed. So this led to hostility between the Muslim community and the cops, and which was reflected in 92, 93 riots, where people from the rioters from Muslim community were targeting police personnel. And talking about personal experience, I was a school student then, and out of curiosity, when the march was passing close to my home, I just started walking along with the protesters, and all of a sudden, police started firing. First, they started with lathi charge, then they started firing, and I got stuck. Then one Muslim old man, he pulled me inside the building and kept me with him for a few hours. And then another young man who helped me to reach my home. My parents were very tense that time, and that was a horrible time for my parents. So this is what I saw as a teenager. And after this incident, after Salman Rushdie's incident, then there was Advani's Rath Yatra, which came to Mumbai. He originally planned it to take out from Somnath to Ayodhya. And when he came to Mumbai, although no communal clash had happened that time, but it charged up the atmosphere. In several places, there were talks like what is going to happen. And since the Rath Yatra was on-ground articulation of BJP's militant Hindutva ideology, which they had adopted in Palanpur convention. After that, it was the first on-ground articulation where Advani took out a Rath Yatra and appealed people to join the Ram Janmabhoomi movement.
Right. And also when we talk about Mumbai, then there are two major things about Mumbai that, anyone can think of. First is, of course, you cannot take off the underworld part of it. Like right now, as you said, the millennials, the new kids may not know that history of the city, and except in movies that they might have seen. But Underworld is something that was also inspired the movies back then. There were encounter specialists who were glorified at one point of time in the movies as well. If you want to talk about it and tell our viewers, as a crime journalist, when you covered crime, when Underworld was actually a thing back then, how were your experiences? Like, if there are certain incidences that you would like to point out, especially also about the encounter specialists that you might have interviewed or gone out with, spoke to even otherwise, which you have probably not mentioned in the book, or some of them mentioned in the book?
Okay. To be a crime reporter in Mumbai in 90s, you had to be in good books of these encounter specialist cops, because at that time, due to all these TRP fight among channels, it was very important for a crime reporter to get the news of encounter first. So if you are a friend with an encounter specialist cop, so he will call you first and tell boss ki ये गैंग के शूटर को अपन ने अभी थोप दिया है, और इसके ऊपर इतना केस था, इसके ऊपर इतना मर्डर का चार्ज था, इसके ऊपर इतना एक्सटॉर्शन का चार्ज था. So that can happen only if you are in good books of those encounter specialists. So time very necessary to be in their circle or keep in touch with them, meet them regularly, call them up and keep them happy, so that whenever they kill some so-called gangster, so they call you and inform that, boss, I have killed so-and-so guy. And then you call up your channel and phone and say ki XYZ encounter specialist cop ke saath encounter mein this and this has been killed, he had to make and murders against him. So, but these encounter cops were double-edged swords. I'll briefly tell you how this breed of encounter specialist cops evolved. In 90s, there were shootouts happening every day. Every day, people were getting killed. Businessmen, traders, film personalities, builders, everybody were being targeted by these gangsters for extortion. And they were not getting prosecuted, or they were not getting convicted, because the gangs had a strong system of people who used to manipulate the evidence or threaten the witnesses. So whenever there was a trial, so these gangsters used to get acquitted from those cases. So police felt helpless, and at that time, Mumbai made national headlines because every day there were killings and shootouts. In fact, one person, Bharat Shah, that owner of Rupam showroom, was killed right outside police commissioner's office. So that time, Home Minister of Maharashtra, who was Deputy Chief Minister as well, Gopinath Munde, he unofficially sanctioned a policy of encounters. Now, encounters means like, if you purely describe encounters, it means a confrontation, a violent confrontation between cops and the criminals. But what actually happened was, and what is alleged to happen is, like, these cops used to pick up all gangsters by doing telephonic surveillance of getting information from the informers. They used to pick them up and kill them in cold blood. And later on, they narrate a story that we got information, we asked him to surrender, but instead of surrendering, he fired at us, and then in retaliation, he got killed. So you will see that from 1994, 1995 till 2003 or 4, all the encounters have similar stories. You will see sound bites of people, you will see quotes of these encounter cops narrating similar stories. Like we crime reporters used to say ki ek script aur 1000 filmein. So the script is same, but every time the person getting killed is somebody different, or encounter specialist cop is different, but the narration is same. So that used to happen, but they have been double-edged swords, because they delivered results. They kept the politicians happy, they kept their superiors happy, because the policy of encounters actually worked. Although it has been a controversial policy, like many human rights organizations have raised voice against them, and then there have been judicial orders against the policy of encounters.
It kind of came like state-sponsored kill. It came like a state-sponsored killing. Like, there is another side of human rights, as you rightly mentioned. So, how do you look at it, especially when this case, like, there are these infamous cases which happened, like the Khwaja Yunus disappearance, the Telgi scam, then the latest one, the Antila case with Sachin Vaze being involved in allegedly involved in all of this. So how do you look at this entire gang of the encounter special? Because there is a theory which kind of glorified it, especially in the movies, and everyone would think it's really cool to be an encounter specialist. But how do you look at it?
Exactly, the movies, the media, the newspapers, everybody glorified encounter cops. But what happened was, since they had become larger than life, and they had become blue-eyed boys of their superiors and politicians in the power, so they started taking liberties, and they thought कि अब तो अपना ही राज है, मतलब बॉस का हाथ अपने सिर पे है, सरकार का हाथ अपने सिर पे है, so nobody can do anything to us, जो मन में आए करें. So it is alleged that they themselves became extortionists or got indulged in criminal activities. So the outcome of cases, the outcome is cases like Antilia or Telgi scam and other such cases. Like there have been people who were innocent, but they were killed for some reasons. So and these cops, some of them have been dismissed from the service, some of them have been arrested, some of them have been suspended. So actions were also being taken against them. But the bottom line is that encounter specialists, while killing the monsters, so-called monsters, they themselves became monsters. And they were like double-edged swords for the government. At one side, they were helping eliminating the underworld, although that policy was wrong, and that was an illegal policy. But if you see the figures dropped once the number of encounter killings of so-called gangsters started rising up. The daily shootouts of people, people belonging to the business community, people belonging to film world, they started dropping, and the extortion calls also started dropping. And by the dawn of this century, by 21st century, you will see that most of the prominent gangs, most of the big gangs of 90s, they are more or less no longer existent. You will not see in mid 2005 or by 2006 or 7 that there have been daily killings like it were happening in 90s. So just then small time gangsters like Ravi Pujari and Bunty Pandey, such gangsters who run breakaway gangs from the bigger gangs, they were operating. But the major gangs like Daud Ibrahim gang, Chota Rajan gang, Arun Gawli gang, Amar Naik's gang and Abu Salim's gang, they were they were neutralized by the dawn of 21st century.
Right. I mean, the character change, like how the gangsters used to operate back in the 80s and the 90s. It kind of, as you said, sort of dropped down, in the first decade of this century. But do you really believe that the underworld era is over for Mumbai, or has it changed its character or color and the shape in which it is coming, or is it actually over, and you can confidently say, or even the police can confidently say, that this underworld reign is totally over?
The kind of underworld which operated in Mumbai in the decades of 70s, 80s and 90s, that underworld is over. Although in the first decade of this century, there were small gangsters like Ravi Pujari and Bunty Pandey. They operated for a few years. But now even they have been arrested. Ravi Pujari is behind the bars. Bunty Pandey is behind the bars. And most of the gangsters, you will see that Daud Ibrahim gang has not fired a single shot in Mumbai after 2002. In 2003, Daud's brother Iqbal Kaskar was deported to India. He was arrested, and after that, you will see there have been no major gang activities. Similarly, Chota Rajan's gang has also become ineffective. Like Chota Rajan gang is also not operating. Chota Rajan got arrested in 2015. Before his arrest also, most of his major gang members, they were either eliminated or they were arrested. So even Chota Rajan gang is not operational. Then if you talk about Arun Gawli's gang, most of the big shooters from Arun Gawli's gang have been killed in encounters. Ashwin Naik's gang. Ashwin Naik gang is no longer active. Ashwin Naik got acquitted from all the cases, and now he has become a real estate developer. So his gang is also finished. Then Abu Salim got arrested in 2005 in Portugal. So even his gang is not operating. So the world which we have seen in movies, which we have seen in the 90s, in 80s and 90s, that doesn't exist any longer.
Right. And, the other thing is about the politics. And when we say that Mumbai's character has changed, the politics has also changed. there is a politics which kind of like we can say divided till 2014 and 2014 and next 5 years and the last 2.5 years. It is kind of constantly changing. If you look at from 2004 to 2014, that was the Congress NCP rule there back then. But after 2014, a change came. After 2019, a change came. In the 90s, there was a change. So how do you look at the politics that has changed, and has it have had any impact on how Mumbai has changed over these years?
Exactly. I began with 95. After communal rights of 92, 93, the parties like BJP and Shiv Sena, they capitalized on the communal polarization. Although there were other factors also, there were allegations of corruption against the incumbent government, Sharad Pawar's government. There were other factors also. There was a Guwari there were many factors, but one of the factors was communal polarization, which took place after 92-93 riots. So the Shiv Sena BJP combined capitalized on that and managed to get power in 95. For the first time, BJP and Shiv Sena got hold of power in Maharashtra. So that is one thing. But later on, in 2019, we all were shocked to see Shiv Sena forming a government with Congress and NCP. Shiv Sena has been a party who has been a staunch, who has been a very bitter nemesis of Congress and NCP. But it was really shocking to see Shiv Sena joining hands with Congress and NCP to form the government. And this was preceded by a 35 days drama. And for this, I believe that the reason which bonded these two parties, Shiv Sena and BJP, so they bonded due to, they say that it was Hindutva we had, which acted as a glue for both the parties. But I have seen a big change in Shiv Sena's approach after Uddhav Thackeray took over as the party chief. If you'll see speeches of Uddhav Thackeray, he avoids hate speech. He doesn't speak against non-Maharashtrians. He doesn't speak against Muslims. And he has been instrumental in fact, launching this Hindi newspaper, Samna's Hindi edition. And by and large, if you assess Uddhav Thackeray's personality, he has been an inclusive person. If you hear his speeches, he doesn't use expletives targeting his opponents. So Shiv Sena, as we had seen during Bal Thackeray's era, has changed a lot under Uddhav Thackeray's leadership. And one reason is that Uddhav's own character, Uddhav's own personality, which is behind this.
Right. And, lastly, my question, again, going back to Bombay, Mumbai has seen so many activities like terror attacks have happened. Then there was even the nature's wrath of the 26th July. Then the Bombay, the 1993 bomb blast. So many things have happened in the last 30 years, but there is one thing that everyone always says, and we in the media generally like to use, the undying spirit of Mumbai. What is that spirit of Mumbai according to you? And how do you really believe that every time anything happens, we kind of attribute it to the spirit of Mumbai? But is it the right way actually to kind of go about?
No, I don't. This phrase "spirit of Mumbai" is it's absurd. People who live in Mumbai, they don't have any other choice to get out and work and get involved in their day-to-day activities. Even if the city has suffered a big natural calamity, next day they have to come out to earn their livelihood. They have to pay their bills. They have to live in the city. And living in Mumbai is very costly. So it's not that spirit of Mumbai which is making Mumbai move, but it is the compulsion of compulsions of living in this city, which is like motivating, or which is propelling it to move. That spirit, okay, it sounds good when we read it in newspapers or in books, but actually what makes Mumbai move is the fact that people come here to earn, people come here to grow, people come here to flourish, and that is one reason. And secondly, the cost of living is Mumbai is very high. If you have to survive in Mumbai, you have to go out and work. Even if there has been a bomb blast in your neighborhood a few hours ago, a day before, then also, even if you are scared, you have to get out of your home and you have to work.
Yeah. All right. That was lovely talking to you, Jitendra Dikshit. And in fact, we both spoke like we are from the city, and we spoke in that spirit only. But this book, we promise that this is not only for people of Mumbai. This is for anyone to read, and it is written in a very simple language, and it chronicles all that has happened in the city for the last 30 years, how the city has changed, its politics has changed, its crime has changed, and also as Mr. Dikshit was saying, from mills to malls, how the character has changed. So this is a 300 odd pages book, which is available, and for our viewers, you can also go and read this book. This is about Bombay, but written in a very simple sort of language by a journalist, Jitendra Dikshit, who's also the West India head for ABP Network. Thank you so much, Mr. Dikshit, for talking to us, and it was pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we are done. Do we want us to hold the book, and maybe you want to take a picture or something?
I don't have a copy. Okay.
Hello?
Purva?
Yeah, we are done. So what about you want me to hold the book and take a picture or something?
Yeah,
Or you have taken the
didn't you do it in the intro?
I did. So you have that, right?
Yeah, we have that.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Because normally they ask me after the thing is over, so that's why I'm just checking.
Oh no, we have that. Okay.
Okay, bye, Jitu sir.
Okay, bye, Purva. Thank you for this.
Bye, and come back and we'll talk later.
It's in Mumbai or Delhi. Where are you right now?
Mumbai only.
Acha, Mumbai mein ho. Okay. So I'll planning a book launch around the 12th December. So I'll invite you.